Hey guys, Rich here and welcome along to another Brick Scene video. This is something that we're going to call What Would I Know? It's going to be a semi-regular thing where you get to ask me questions, gain my opinions on things, basically find out what makes me tick and what ticks me off. So there was a great response to this in the end. More questions than I'll probably get through in this episode. At least that means we've got a second episode banked. So look, if you don't see your question answered tonight, it will be in the next episode, I promised. So look, without further ado, let's get straight into this. All right, so first question from Faith in Misery. Great idea for a series. Thank you. I have a huge backlog of sets to build. I keep adding more sets, but not building much. What are your recommendations to tackle this backlog? 40 plus sets, largest being Batmobile and Batwing, smaller ones being Brickheads. Also, where have you traveled and where have you wanted to travel? Interesting. So I have a backlog probably similar sort of size. Batwing being probably my biggest set, that or the Assembly Square, my biggest backlog set to build. I have absolutely no advice on this. Funnily enough, first question, no advice. I say let them be and savor them. Bring them out on a rainy day. I don't rush to build sets. As you can see with my Sunday night streams, I'm going through and I'm building a lot of older sets despite having a backlog of new sets. I enjoy building the new one every now and again when I want something, just that new experience, pull something new out and do it. It does happen. Maybe once every couple of weeks I pull something out. So that would be my recommendation, really. Unless you have a purpose to build it, like I'm going to definitely be building Assembly Square and another modular that I've got there as well because I want to get the city going again. So that's going to be something that I'm going to have to tackle eventually. But all those other ones, unless you're doing a show or something like that, I would sit on them and savor them. I'm not one to sit on sets to sell them, so they will all get built eventually. But that's my opinion on that. Enjoy them. It's a nice problem to have, I guess, having 40 plus in your backlog. It's definitely a nice problem to have. Let me know what you think of those, the Batmobile and the Batwing too, because I enjoyed the Batmobile and I'm hoping to enjoy the Batwing. Where have I travelled? Now, first of all, let me start. I was born in Scotland. I lived there until I was about 11 years old. Then I moved down to here in New Zealand, obviously with my family. When I was 21, I then moved over to London. I had intentions of doing the big travel thing, doing 2 years and then coming back here. That turned into 10 years. I didn't end up travelling immediately. So what happened is I started working in the bars and the nightclubs over there and got into the rock scene. It was what I kind of went over there for anyway. I was kind of looking for that. I was really into my music, so I was kind of looking for that scene and going to visit some of those venues that I'd read up on magazines. So I got involved with that, hooked up with some bands over there, ended up starting touring and subsequently seeing quite a bit of, Europe. But I've travelled around your usual haunts of Europe, I suppose. Portugal, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Austria. I've done some weird places, Luxembourg. Yeah, sort of pretty much that sort of side of your Western Europe, I guess. I've done South Africa, I've been over to the States, been through parts of Asia. Where would I want to travel? I'd probably want to see more of the States now, but it wouldn't necessarily to see the sights, of course. It would be to see people that I've met during doing this, etc. and all that. Same with going back to Europe as well. We really, really want to get back to Europe once all this COVID thing blows over, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I look forward to getting out there and doing that anyway. So, hey, thanks for the question. I appreciate it. So my next question is from Paul Firth. Thoughts on the upcoming 2022 LEGO Star Wars sets and thoughts on this year's releases. All right, well, let's start with this year's stuff. We, of course, started off quite slowly, I guess, this year with that Mandalorian set, the Tatooine one, and then, of course, we had those slightly scaled-down versions of the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. Wasn't a fan of any of those sets. Of course, that Imperial Shuttle as well. Now that I think about it, I didn't buy any of those sets. I have no intention of buying any of those sets, so you could say the beginning was a bit of a fizzer for me of this year. Now the second half has somewhat redeemed itself. I think, the play sets have been okay. Moff Gideon's Cruiser being a standout. A couple of others, Mandalorian Fighter, of course, and those smaller sets, much for muchness, but the minifigs really, made up for anything that we didn't get last year or the beginning of this year. So the minifigs have been the standout for me. And then, of course, we've got the UCS gunship, which, of course, looks fantastic, for the lack of minifigs or whatever, the arguments may be with that one. I think it does look like a pretty good set. And of course the UCS AT-AT as well. Looking into next year, a couple of the play sets look interesting, but it looks like they're really going to town on these adult sort of base sets with the displayable trench run, the trash compactor scene from the Death Star, as well as some more of those helmets. Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks good. I'm certainly looking forward to what next year's going to bring, especially with some sort of displayable sets and not just a big range of play sets and a couple of big UCS sets. You know, as adult collectors, we like that sort of nice finished product with those, you know, the black bases or whatever you want, or the stands and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I think as an adult collector, we're in safe hands going forward. And of course, you've asked a question there, Trevor Baker, as well. Similar sort of thing. I'm looking forward to those sets. I think they are going to look good. As an adult collector, like I say, it can only be a good thing. Now, Fooling with Bricks, or my buddy Barry, has asked a really great question, actually. If you could choose any theme or one-off Lego set to make, what would you choose? No hold bars, no stipulations. Well, that would be fairly easy for me, and it might be because I've been watching something recently on Netflix about it, but Aliens. Absolutely Aliens. I love the whole Geiger look and feel to Aliens. I love the vehicles that they come up with. I love the xenomorphs. I love it all. I think it would be a great theme to do. Slightly violent theme, of course. Whether Lego would ever do it, I doubt it. But you know, I would love to see it, and there's been some great mocks out there as well. But look, hands down, no two ways about it. I'd love to see Aliens being done. Cheers for the question, man. I appreciate that one. Carl Goddard asks an interesting one as well. At what point do you decide a set just costs too much and ultimately you're not paying XX hundreds of dollars for a few plastic parts? Again, this is a fairly easy one for me. I will not pay stupid money for any Lego set. If I happen to come across a good deal for something, I'm definitely going to pick it up. But I'm the kind of person who actually enjoys building the newer sets than I do the older sets. And the fact that I open every set up and build it, I don't hold on to anything sealed, anything like that. You know, I'd prefer to open a newer set and get the building experience out of that. So I'm not the kind of collector that goes around chasing old sealed sets and pays stupid money for them. I'm one of those people, I think we've mentioned it before, if I happen to come across a brand new sealed in box Cloud City, that original one that now goes for stupid amounts of money, I'd rip it open and build it. I probably wouldn't enjoy the experience quite as much as that new one. So that's where I'm at with that. So you'll never see me on the eBay marketplace paying stupid money for secondhand sets. Plus I always live in hope that they're going to build a newer version of an older UCS set that may have tempted me in the past. Now Greg, London Bridge Bricks asks, what was the last set you purchased to never build but instead invest for a rainy day? Is that a thing you do? Well, I think I might have answered that in the last couple of questions. No, nothing comes into my house with the purpose of me keeping it, you know, sealed to then move on to someone else. Of course, I buy sets to chuck into the Bricklink store, but of course those are sold off in pieces over time. So no, not really something I do, buying Lego sets, keeping them sealed for the investment side of things. I open them up, I build them, I enjoy them. I'm the end of the line for any collector, put it that way. So over on Instagram, Mayo Hosco asked, have you ever considered trying to become a mock builder? Yes, definitely have considered trying to become a mock builder, and I guess that's the word, the trying part. I've always been a set collector. I've always been someone who enjoys building the sets, breaking them down, putting them away, sealed, all together. I'm not one who then takes the set, breaks it out and puts it into a parts collection. All my sets that I've ever built are broken down and kept together in a bag and stored away. I do, however, have a decent parts or spare parts collection, plus I have a Bricklink store. So, of course, the temptation is there to build some sort of mock. I have a dream. I have a dream. A mock that I would really, really like to tackle as a massive football stadium. I'm a big football fan. I would like to make well, it won't be quite minifig sort of scale, I guess. It would be a large European style football stadium. I wouldn't have a football field in it. I would have a big concert going on inside it, line it up with minifigs. That would be a cool mock. That's something that I would, if I had the patience, the time, and I guess the skills, I would definitely tackle. And it's a one-day thing. I won't rule it out. Trevor Baker asks a very, very interesting question. Who do I consider to be the best Lego YouTuber out there, and why? That's an interesting one. That is a really, really interesting one. Look, I have to give credit where credit's due. You know, people like M&R Productions, Solid Brick Studios, those guys who have put in the time, the hard yards to gain that following, and of course the quality, the passion. But I also like people like Shy Time is My Time. I enjoy his stuff. It's very real. It's a guy talking about his passion. I like that sort of stuff. Probably Shy for his passion and the quality of his videos and you know the whole feel of them. Probably M&R Productions for equally his passion, but also his knowledge. You can't get past that. You know, the consistency as well. You know, you're going to get a video every couple of days, and it's probably going to be something of interest, being a Lego Star Wars fan or a Star Wars fan in general. So those are probably my picks. Now I feel like I need to shout this guy's name. Wah! Asks a great question. If you had a call from Lego and was asked to work with their designers on a Star Wars set, What would you wish that they had you work on with them? UCS series. What inspired you to pick that model? What would excite you to see happen in that kit? What kind of size would the kit be, either physical or by brick count? Now, I saw this question come through the other night, and I've been thinking about this one for days. And I honestly think I would like to see a sail barge. A UCS Jabba's sail barge. I think there's enough detail in it. I think there's enough in the design that would have to, a biggish design. You'd be able to get all those funny angled curves and stuff like that as well. And I appreciate that this is all sort of hypothetical, but I simply don't think that we will ever see anything like that again because of, the slave layer thing and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know, the sail barge, it would be an interesting one. How they would deal with those big sort of cloth pieces on top, they maybe have to be custom pieces for that particular set. But no, a decent sized sail barge, that would be my pick on that one. A UCS sail barge would actually be pretty cool. FN2187 asks another great question. What is the worst Lego set I have ever built? Look, the most disappointing Lego set I've ever received. I kind of knew what I was getting myself into beforehand because I had seen something on it, but I still got it, is that, the Knights of Ren transport ship. Yeah, that thing was really, really disappointing. The fact that it was just like a facade of a ship, it didn't have any guts to it. You couldn't get any minifigs to stay in it and have any of the hatches closed. I think it was a big fail. It was definitely more like a speeder, and I appreciate maybe the artwork that they were given or the concept art meant that they, that was all they had to work with, but I don't know. That was probably because something I was really looking forward to. I liked the look of that ship in the movie, but it was just, a major letdown. I'm sure there's probably been others. I actually didn't build that headless ATST. If I'd got that one, maybe that might have been up there too. But yeah, definitely that Knights of Ren transport ship. Definitely. And here's my last one for today. Snap to Grid Bricks. Been a long time supporter of this channel, and I really, really appreciate you asking this question. So my friend, a series on Give Me a Break scene. My question to you is simple. Why? Why the streams? Why the participation on other channels? Why the constant strive to be different, to stand out, to be the best of the pack? And maybe not so simple. Had there not been any lockdowns, would you have started the channel? Now, you've probably come into my channel after the lockdown started, but I actually started it prior to the lockdowns. I was doing some reviews while I was able to get out to shows, etc. and all that. And I initially started this channel with that view of, going to sort of the shows in New Zealand and maybe trying to, showcase some of the New Zealand scene, if you like, or the New Zealand brick building community. Then lockdowns happened, so you kind of had to sort of pivot, I guess, and sort of, you can't get out there and do stuff. Okay, I was still doing reviews and all that every now and again, but I couldn't get out there quite as much. Then I met people. I tell you now, when I got into Lego, I didn't realize that there was an adult community for a start. Adult fans of Lego. What an AFOL was. I just saw a couple of Lego sets I liked the look of, decided that that's, I was going to buy a couple of Lego sets. I had no idea that there was this thing where adults, a community of adults that collect Lego or buy Lego or even built mocks or anything like that. I just had no idea. No idea. And then of course I started a YouTube channel, and that was, like I say, to sort of showcase the New Zealand stuff. I thought I could do something with a camera, something else to sort of contribute. And then I find that there's this massive community on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram. Again, I had no idea. So it's kind of like one thing has led to another, like I started with the Lego. Then I met a community. I was like, wow, this is cool. And then through that community started something else, and then met another community. And I was like, whoa. And then you see it now yourself. When we're in live streams, you see a lot of the same people coming in and out. And I can honestly say that I've met some genuine people, some friends that I would like to meet in real life, if you like, when all this blows over, again, for lack of a better term. So look, like I said earlier, I want to get back to London. I'd like to go to the States. I'd love to come to Canada as well. So to meet all these people that I've met over the last year and a half. You're not getting rid of me now. I'm here to stay. I'm here to make more content. I'm here to do more live streaming. So long may it live. Cheers for the question, man. Appreciate it. So that's all I've got this time. I hope it's been as interesting for you as it has been for me to go through this. I appreciate everyone who's asked questions. Like I said, I've held a few back, so we are going to have a second episode of this. If this is your gig, give it a like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much. I will see you again very, very soon.